This is CBN NewsWatch.
It is Monday, April 27, 2020. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, the U.S. facing key questions. Is the worst of the coronavirus outbreak finally behind us, and is a second wave ahead? We're going to explain what experts are saying will make the difference. Questions about the effectiveness of a possible coronavirus vaccine, and how long will we need to maintain social distancing? We're going to talk about those and other issues with CBN News medical reporter Lorie Johnson. As the government tries to figure out who has COVID-19, could their efforts invade our privacy? How much will people have or be willing to give up? And how God is using the coronavirus outbreak to bring people around the world to faith in Christ. We're going to tell you about the quarantine revival. All those stories and more ahead today in this edition of CBN NewsWatch. I want to begin this half hour with some key questions for America. Is the worst of the coronavirus outbreak over, or is a second wave of the disease ahead? Government and health officials say it all depends on how Americans respond as some state economies start opening back up this week. Gary Lane is on the story.
Heat-weary Californians defied stay-at-home orders and took to the beach Sunday. Temperatures soaring into the 90s caused some counties to ease stay-at-home restrictions. Huntington Beach and Newport Beach were packed with sunbathers looking to cool off. Los Angeles County beaches remained closed. It is just one example of what is happening nationwide. 15 states are reopening their economies this week, while other states hit hard by the COVID-19 virus remain closed. With some Colorado businesses opening back up today, Colorado Governor Polis urged people in his state to act responsibly.
The stay-at-home was for nothing. It doesn't accomplish anything if it's not replaced with practices that are sustainable for the weeks and months that it's likely to remain with us.
Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin predicts the gradual reopenings will have a positive impact on the U.S. economy.
As we open up the economy in May and June, you will begin to see the economy bounce back in July, August, September. And my expectation is that you'll see an increasing rate of growth in those 3 months.
That may be too long for some sectors, like the oil industry. U.S. drillers closed 60 rigs this week, laying off hundreds of workers. The governor of Oklahoma wants President Trump to declare the pandemic an act of God to protect oil producers from losing their leases. However, there's positive news on the health front. Dr. Deborah Burke says the latest projections provide hope that the number of new coronavirus infections will start coming down.
Social distancing will be with us through the summer to really ensure that we protect one another as we move through these phases.
Meanwhile, the White House says President Trump is pulling back from his daily coronavirus briefings, possibly a reaction to White House press corps reporting of the president's remarks about disinfectants and ultraviolet light for treatment. Dr. Birx downplayed the president's comments on CNN's State of the Union Sunday.
It bothers me that this is still in the news cycle because I think we're missing the bigger pieces of what we need to be doing as an American people to continue to protect one another.
For now, Birx and others say to protect one another, Americans must go slow, maintain social distancing rules. Responsible actions are needed to prevent a second massive coronavirus outbreak. Gary Lane, CBN News.
And medical reporter Lorie Johnson joins us now with more. So leading scientists are casting doubts about the effectiveness now of a coronavirus vaccine. Why are they taking this dim view?
Right. So, you know, Ephraim, in the scientific and medical community, just really like any other industry, you have people who are coming up with ideas to tackle a problem. And then you have people over here who say, that's not going to work. That's never going to work. And here's why. You've got this obstacle and you've got this complication. And that's what's happening right here. So we have 75 potential vaccines that are being developed right now. We know that 4 of them have already advanced to human testing. So first they have to make sure that it's safe to inject into people, then they inject it into a small group of people, and then to a larger group of people. So the studies are out. We don't know how effective the vaccine is going to be, if at all. But there's every reason to hope. Meanwhile, you have scientists who are saying, yes, but the coronavirus is very unique in some ways in that it's extremely contagious, far more contagious than the flu. But perhaps most concerning about a vaccine is it appears now that the antibodies that our body produces that keep us immune might only stay in our body for a couple of months. And that's the big the big hitch right now. But again, we don't know. These are things that we need to look at, that scientists are looking at. Hopefully they will find a way around this obstacle. But even the most negative, pessimistic scientists are saying a vaccine is still going to be worthwhile, because even though it might not protect us 100%, if you do get the coronavirus, it is likely to make it less severe, and you're less likely to have severe complications. And again, this is what we see with the flu vaccine. Right. We know that a lot of times when people get a flu vaccine, they still get the flu, but oftentimes it's not as severe as it would have been, maybe saving a person's life.
Yeah, had they not gotten it. Dr. Burke suggests that we need to continue practicing social distancing even throughout the summer. Why do you think she's saying that's necessary?
Everybody's like, bummer. Oh, no. But she was just saying that it's really, she said social distancing will be with us through the summer. So she's not saying that everybody needs to social distance all the time. We remember Mike Pence, Vice President Mike Pence, said it looks like the coronavirus will largely be past us by Memorial Day. So people are thinking, wait a second, are these two contradicting each other? Not really, because we know that the coronavirus, again, is very, very contagious. And so it is still going to be with us throughout the summer. The vaccine's not going to be here. Treatment's not quite there yet either. And so we need to do what we can. So we can expect to see grocery stores still maintaining that 6-foot distance, and the plexiglass. Now even restaurants are talking about putting plexiglass barriers between the booths, maybe separating the tables at least 6 feet within restaurants. But then we can see some easing up on some social distancing restrictions, perhaps at the beach, because we talked before about how science now says that ultraviolet radiation and also humidity kills the virus very rapidly. So we might see places like that have more eased up restrictions on social distancing, places like nail salons or massage places, tattoo parlors, hair salons, maybe restricting the social distancing guidelines a little bit, but still wearing masks.
Indeed. Now, I want to turn to the death toll real quick. It now stands at about 55,000, but some experts say that number is way off. Why is it so hard now to even still get an accurate count?
Well, because so oftentimes, Ephraim, when a person who is older dies from the coronavirus, they have a lot of other things going on. And, we even saw this before the coronavirus. I can speak from personal experience within my own family. This is before the coronavirus even came. 2 very elderly relatives, towards the end of their life, they had about 10 different things going on with their heart, with their lungs, with infections. And so when they finally do pass, it's difficult sometimes for doctors to say what it was that exactly killed them. Was it a virus that originally triggered this chain reaction, or was it something else? And so that's why we see so often now, and even before, that it's difficult to pinpoint. That's why when we look at the flu deaths, there's usually a range of, tens of thousands, of people who are suspected to have died from the flu, because a lot of times we're not really sure, was it heart disease or was it the flu that triggered the heart failure?
Absolutely. Lorie Johnson, medical reporter, thank you so much for your insight again
pleasure.
today. Much appreciated. Even as anxiety about the spread of the COVID-19 has been rising, new technology promises to help contain the virus. But at what cost? Senior Washington correspondent Jennifer Wishon looks at what Americans may have to give up in order to track the virus.
For the first time during a pandemic, most Americans carry a potential superpower. In addition to a smartphone's many purposes, the very latest could become a personal biolab. As pressure mounts for states to reopen, technology will soon tell us who's at risk of catching COVID-19. Meanwhile, Facebook offering an opt-in symptom survey, asking users to report if they have a fever, cough, or shortness of breath. The social media giant then mapping responses from millions of Americans. This as Apple and Google develop a system to measure your risk by tracing your contacts. With these apps, as your phone's Bluetooth comes into contact with other phones, they share strings of numbers. If you then test positive for COVID-19, your phone can alert those phones. The companies maintain your identifying information will be protected.
It's an amazing thing, but a lot of people have some very big constitutional problems with it.
The White House Coronavirus Task Force is considering the implications. During crises like after 9/11, Americans often prefer protection over civil liberty, but experts warn it's a slippery slope.
COVID-19 is very scary, and issues of privacy and things are easy to fall by the wayside and very hard to recover once they're compromised.
As companies reopen their doors, people may feel pressure to use this new technology to maintain their livelihoods.
There could be employers who say you can't come to work unless you show your app, or grocery stores who do the same thing, or maybe you can't get benefits, like the unemployment benefits, unless you can prove you have that app.
Testifying before senators this month, law professor Ryan Callow said a foreign operative who wished to sow chaos, an unscrupulous political operative who wished to dampen political participation, or a desperate business owner who sought to shut down the competition all could use self-reported instances of COVID-19 to achieve their goals.
The problem here is we don't have a federal privacy law, so this all has to come from written agreements with tech companies, with application developers, with governments. What we'd much rather see is these principles enshrined in law.
Laws, she says, with guarantees only necessary data is collected that's used for a specific purpose and then deleted. And since technology usually moves much faster than government, Chang suggests lawmakers stick to the basics.
So what we need to start from are our principles, which hopefully haven't changed, that we value individuals, we value privacy, we value rights, we have rights of appeal and things like that.
Chang says for lawmakers, there is a delicate balance between keeping people safe and allowing them to be free. Jennifer Wishon, CBN News, Woodstock, Virginia.
Jennifer, thank you. Here's a quick look at some of the other stories we're following for you in the news today. New warnings: the U.S. could be facing meat shortages in the weeks ahead. The chairman of Tyson Foods saying the food supply is breaking in an ad published Sunday. Brazil and Canada, the world's other meat suppliers, also face shortages. This is all according to Bloomberg News. Where is North Korean leader Kim Jong-un? Questions are being raised since he hasn't been seen in recent weeks. A satellite photograph by 38 North, which studies North Korea, shows a train likely owned by Kim parked at his compound on Korea's east coast. It could mean he's staying there, but there's also speculation about who might take his place if necessary. And a man has been arrested in connection with the drive-by shooting at the Louisiana estate of Duck Dynasty star Willie Robertson. No one was injured in that shooting. Coming up, Franklin Graham, Samaritan's Purse charitable organization, has run into criticism as it has tried to help out in New York City from gay rights activists and even the city's mayor. But now the group has gained an unlikely advocate. We're going to hear who it is when we come back. Stay with us.
Yeah, buddy.
How many nickels are in a dollar?
There are 20 nickels in a dollar.
How do birds fly? Does milk really make my bones stronger?
Yeah.
Daddy, when we die, will we go to heaven?
Do you have the answer to life's biggest question? Call the 700 Club. We'll help you find answers to the important questions life brings your way.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs from health to entertainment you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. To watch the CBN News Channel, download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. David Perlmutter, board-certified neurologist and #1 New York Times bestselling author. Wouldn't it be great to boost your energy, eliminate brain fog, and even reverse brain disease? Well, you can, and I'm going to show you how, along with some of the world's most well-respected brain experts in this DVD, Protect Your Brain.
Get Protect Your Brain, a free DVD only from the Christian Broadcasting Network, featuring experts on the cutting edge of neuroscience and brain health.
No matter how many times you've failed in the past, you really can do this.
In Protect Your Brain, you'll discover simple strategies to keep your brain young and healthy, improve your memory, Discover the gut-brain connection in Protect Your Brain. Get your free copy at cbn.com or call 1-800-700-7000.
If you want to improve the quality of your life, get the DVD Protect Your Brain and get it today.
Young people, millennials, are flocking to church.
It's not an exaggeration to say that we love to meet them and that we love to know their stories.
Samaritan's Purse has found an unexpected ally in a man who volunteered to work in its field hospitals in New York City. The self-proclaimed non-religious man says he's been impressed with the organization despite its critics, including the city's mayor. Our Mark Martin spoke with FaithWire.com's Dan Andros, who's following the story.
Dan, we've been following this story with FaithWire about Samaritan's Purse field hospitals in New York City. What is the latest on the critics of the ministry and an unlikely ally?
Yeah, well, this may come as a shock to many of the critics of Samaritan's Purse, but they have not been turning people away based on their sexual orientation and all these other things that they were initially concerned about. Mayor de Blasio and others expressed concern about how they would be treated. They sent a monitor to watch them. Obviously, none of those things have happened because that's just not how Samaritan's Purse operates. Some protesters did show up from a pride group earlier this month. A few weeks ago, they were there protesting. But thankfully, the hospital has been a little less busy than they anticipated. The overflows didn't quite happen as much as they thought. So that part of it's been good. But the protests have died down as well, largely in part to Samaritan's Purse just behaving in the way that we would all expect them to behave as Christians, treating everyone the same. And this did not escape the attention of one New York City resident named Whitney Tilson, who is an unlikely proponent of Samaritan's Purse now after he saw how they were working firsthand.
Yeah, tell us about his tweet.
Yeah, well, he was tweeting that because he was written up in the religious news service, and he said, wow, there must be something going on in the cosmos when a non-religious guy like me gets written up in the RNS. And so what he was talking about was his experience volunteering at the Samaritan's Purse field hospital. Now, he had never heard of Samaritan's Purse. This is a guy who's self-described, polar opposites of Franklin Graham, pro-LGBT, left-leaning, all the other things that you could think of that would be in direct opposition to the things that Franklin Graham and Samaritan's Purse believe. And so, but he went there. Everyone was very welcoming. He has described his experience as positive one. He said it's an incredibly impressive organization delivering world-class critical care. And he said every single person I've met has been a genuinely nice person and very competent and good at their job. So very positive experience for him.
Yeah, has New York Mayor Bill de Blasio, has he changed his tune about the ministry?
No, you know what? Mayor de Blasio hasn't. He's been pretty quiet about it since he initially expressed the concern. He hasn't said anything that at least has made the rounds in the media that I've seen since then. So he just kind of had the initial jab, and then that was that. But as far as Whitney Tilson goes, he had posted earlier this month, and it just kind of made the rounds on the internet, a very emotional YouTube video talking about his experience at Samaritan's Purse, and he debunked a lot of the rumors that were going around that were spread early on by de Blasio and others. And particularly one he said where, people were claiming that Samaritan's Purse was making them sign, statements of faith and things in order to volunteer. And he said that wasn't true at all. He said they just let us come and they just let us, they put us right to work.
Oh, that's wonderful. What a great story in the midst of the controversy and the protests. How Samaritan's Purse is just staying the course and just sharing the love of Jesus through what they're doing. All right, Dan Andros with FaithWire. Thanks for keeping us updated on this story.
Thank you.
Also on tonight's FaithWire program, why the Army pulled videos by chaplains meant to encourage soldiers during the pandemic from a Facebook page and efforts to see them restored. You can see that tonight on FaithWire's Faith versus Culture with Dan Andros and Dale Partridge. It begins at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. You can find it on the CBN News Channel. Still ahead, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is moving forward with one of his major goals for the Jewish state. We'll tell you what that is and why it's happening at a key time in the country's history. Stay with us.
sex before you marry is a bad idea. Don't tell me there's no such thing as gun violence.
That just depends on your definition of when life begins.
Watch Dan and Dale tackle trending topics that test your faith on the next Faith Wire, Monday night at 9:30. The Global Lane takes you around the world, providing facts over fiction.
What might rising trade and geopolitical tensions mean for you on the home front?
With over 45 years of experience, award-winning journalist Gary Lane brings you the truth from a global angle.
What about the issue of immigration?
World news analysis you won't see anywhere else.
And it's all right here on the Global Lane.
Watch The Global Lane, Thursday night at 9:30.
And welcome back to CBN Newswatch. Last week, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Blue and White Party leader Benny Gantz forged a unity government. Now Netanyahu hopes to move ahead one of his major goals, annexing Jewish communities in the biblical heartland of Israel. And as Chris Mitchell reports now from Jerusalem, it comes on the anniversary of a key moment in the country's history.
On Sunday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stated he believes Israel can annex parts of what the world calls the West Bank.
3 months ago, the Trump peace plan recognized Israel's rights in all of Judea and Samaria. And President Trump pledged to recognize Israel's sovereignty over the Jewish communities there and in the Jordan Valley. A couple of months from now, I'm confident that that pledge will be honored, that we will be able to celebrate another historic moment in the history of Zionism. A century after San Remo, the promise of Zionism is being realized.
Netanyahu delivered his comments as part of a special program marking the 100th anniversary of the signing of the San Remo Resolution.
San Remo recognized a fundamental truth. The Jewish people are not foreign colonialists in the land of our forefathers. The land of Israel is our ancestral homeland.
100 years ago, on April 25, 1920, representatives of the great powers who triumphed in World War I met in the Italian town of San Remo. They divided the Middle Eastern lands they conquered, and for the first time in nearly 2,000 years, they called for the establishment of a Jewish homeland in an area called Palestine. The resolution also included the Balfour Declaration, written by England's Lord Balfour in 1917, which called for the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people. One English diplomat, Lord Curzon, called it Israel's Magna Carta.
It shows, in fact, the creation of a Jewish national home was widely backed by the international community way back then.
The European Coalition for Israel sponsored the 100th anniversary program that included letters from world leaders like U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who wrote that historic agreement marked the world's embrace of the unbreakable connection of the Jewish people to the land of Israel.
For the first time ever, we have world leaders officially recognizing the importance of this landmark event. And I believe once we get the historical facts right, the legal facts right, we also have a better prospect for finding a peaceful solution in the Middle East region.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Coming up, the coronavirus outbreak has also led to a worldwide spiritual harvest. We're going to tell you about the quarantine revival when we come back. Stay with us.
If you want to be an attorney with a passion for serving people and for excellence, Regent University needs to be high on your list.
Regent's award-winning law school doesn't just create lawyers. We create leaders, judges, prosecutors and defense lawyers, civil litigators, and leaders in government. Ready to become a purpose-driven, practice-ready lawyer? To start your rewarding career, complete the online application, submit your transcripts, and take the law school admissions test by July.
Nutrition, exercise, essential oils, weight loss, and more. It's Healthy Living with Lorie Johnson.
Talk about what's in this.
Join CBN health reporter Lorie Johnson to get the latest information from today's top health experts.
This is fantastic.
Find out what you need to know to live a healthier life. Watch Healthy Living, Tuesday night at 9:30.
Woohoo! Hi, Superbook fans. Here's something else you'll love. It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! Whoa!
Millsburg Falls man, come.
Sorry, pardon me. Sorry, excuse me. Ouch!
Are you getting this?
Earn super points to win daily prizes too, and so much more. Time to get back to my adventures. See you soon. It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
Get the top political news and analysis from Washington on Faith Nation, tonight at 6 Eastern, only on the CBN News Channel.
A great quarantine revival is bringing people all around the world to Jesus Christ through the internet as God moves on people's hearts during this global pandemic. Evangelist Nick Hall says more than 100,000 people made known their desire to put their faith in Christ, mainly through 2 Easter week events hosted by his ministry called Pulse. An estimated 1.7 million people in 167 countries took part through YouTube and Facebook, responding to the gospel call through email, text, and international call centers. Right now, time for your Monday motivation, and today I leave you with this thought: your victory in Christ is real even when it is not visible. Be patient. His promise will soon be your reality. With that word, make today a marvelous Monday, and be sure to make this a wonderful week. That will do it for this edition of CBN News Watch. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, you can always find more of our news programs on the CBN News Channel and at any time online at cbnnews.com. Also, we would love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can email us at newswatch@cbn.com. You can also reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Certainly hope you'll join us again right here next time. Make it a marvelous Monday. We'll see you right back here, same time tomorrow. Goodbye and God bless.